It seems that Bungie either doesn't have the time or resources to put forth a narrative that Destiny truly deserves. Again, in Warmind, the story and campaign are shallow and completed in what can only be described as a hurtful amount of time. We follow Anna Bray into the Clovis Bray facility back on Mars to take out the Hive, but not just any Hive, Frozen Hive, because that's different, I guess. Anyways, we help Anna Bray in her quest to gain control over Rasputin, because he's here and not on Earth, where we always thought he was, but that was instead some kind of fragment of himself, but none of that's super important anyways, because the real threat is a Hive wizard called Nokris. Now this is where things got potentially interesting, as Nokris is a son of Oryx, and we find out that Clovis Bray is housing a fucking worm god. This is awesome, right? Wrong! Once again, we are given what seems like multiple days worth of story and lore to play through, but instead are given another 3-hour story to finish in one sitting. But the biggest issue is the fact that this is a complete bastardization of lore and the story of the worm gods. Zol, the worm god that is in Warmind, is one of 5 all-powerful creatures that have unfathomable power and are responsible for creating the Hive gods. Remember Oryx? Yeah, these guys made him what he was. Which is why I find it not only unbelievable, but completely fucking ludicrous to think that a single Guardian could take this Leviathan down. Now I get that our Guardian is Billy Badass and is plenty strong enough given our previous excursions in the Destiny universe, not to mention we had Rasputin, which is the most powerful weapon in the solar system, but the fact remains that this was a fucking worm god. The story gave us little time to appreciate the sheer magnitude of Zol's power, and instead thrust the player into a very shallow point-and-shoot boss fight, essentially right after meeting him. I really feel like the being's capable of giving Oryx his mysterious powers and the all-unique gameplay mechanics that came with it would in one way or another have some sort of trick or gimmick to weaken them, but instead we just gotta shoot the shiny spot and I got smacked by a worm tail. After the story has ran its course, you get to the good parts of Warmind. Warmind has finally brought back what I feel most people longed for in Destiny 2, which is a meaningful grind. Reaching max light level is going to take some time this time around, which is great because most people still playing Destiny really want to play it and play it for a long time. There's also hidden exotics and loot to go after, like the returning Sleeper Simulant, the new exotic sword, Worldline Zero, giving Guardians some long overdue carrots on the end of a stick. The new game mode, Escalation Protocol, isn't really anything new as much as Bungie want to tout it as the same Court of Oryx and Archon's Forge we are used to, but instead a little bit more fleshed out, and a good challenge. In fact, it's damn near impossible to really accomplish much in Escalation Protocol if you're a solo player. I'm not saying to make it easier, but I do think something should be done to increase player count on Mars, or at least make 6-player patrol an option. As for what I've seen, I've only come across 5 Guardians there at once, counting myself. Not everyone is going to have people to play with, and not everyone running around on Mars is going to want to engage in the public event. From what I've seen online, Bungie are tweaking this in some way to better the experience for solo players, which is great and a good sign. I've not personally played the raid layer, but the general consensus I've seen online is that it's hard and a good experience overall. I still would have loved to have seen a raid completely devoted to Zol and not an add-on to the Leviathan. But alas, we can't get everything we want, even though that would help with the narrative problem, but who am I to question their fucking choices? I'm just some dumb idiot on the internet. I've not returned to the Crucible purely because I love myself and I don't want to tear my shirt off Hulk Hogan style in anger. I still hold to the claim that Warmind doesn't change anything. This expansion is far better than Curse of Osiris, but it wouldn't take a lot to beat that trash heap. This is a decent DLC for people who wanted to play Destiny again, and I feel it's probably going to be best experienced as something you pick up every now and again over the next few weeks to months. For people who wanted the giant sweeping changes to Destiny, this isn't it. It looks like the fall DLC will be that, which still irks me that people who want to play this series and want to continue to play this series have to shell out more money in order to get an experience they should have already had. Warmind is good on a gameplay front, but this DLC just puts Destiny 2 into a state that it should have launched at.